So good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here on behalf of the Economic Alliance. We're here today to learn about finding your audience online. And to help us do so is Caroline Sancken, returning once again in partnership with us to bring this class to you. And she's got a presentation here for us with some interactive elements as well. So I'll let you go ahead and start.
That's right. Lots of interaction. So no one's allowed to doze off just yet. So today we're going to go over how to find, define, and connect with your ideal customers. So it doesn't matter if you're a business or a nonprofit, everybody has an audience who they want to see what they're doing. Yeah. So we are going to go over that. So we're going to go over a few things today. Why it's important to understand your audience, how to actually identify your target audience, how to create a customer persona, what defining your brand voice looks like, and then just a few strategies for how to actually connect authentically with those ideal customers. So some of you heard a little bit about me already, but my name is Caroline Sancken. My family and I moved to Winthrop from San Francisco in 2021. I have two kids, Hugh, who's 5, Eleanor, who is 3, and surprise, have another one on the way. I've torn my ACL 3 times, and I love making and learning about sourdough bread. So a lot of my examples end up being about sourdough bread, because that is what is top of mind. I've worked in the digital marketing social media space since 2010. I've done it for, I feel like, pretty much every industry at this point. I used to say, I've been doing this for 10 years, but I realized that we're in 2026 now, so I've been doing it for 16. And then besides organic social media, I got into paid social, so I do advertising, which is actually what I focus on now. And then I also love education, hence the workshops. And I did end up spending a couple years running a customer education team. That's part of my background. And I set up an online school. And I said, there's got to be a way for me to keep teaching, because I love working with adults. So then I get to do this. Anyway, I started my own business in 2024. I actually got laid off from a job when they were downsizing. And now, instead of working with fast food and entertainment, I get to work with whoever I want and people I care about and businesses I support. So that is very fun. So now we are going to basically dive right into the importance of understanding your audience. And I'm going to also point out some common pitfalls and some of the benefits that you might see when you actually crack the code to your audience. So we're going to go over a few case studies to start. And so does everyone here know what Airbnb is? Hopefully, yes. Great. So I don't know if you remember, but when they first launched, they really focused primarily on budget-conscious travelers looking for an affordable alternative to a hotel. Does anybody see them that way now? No, exactly. And so what happened is they launched that way, but then they did audience research and they discovered that the core of what people wanted was actually unique experiences in new places. And so what did they end up doing after that? They ended up focusing all of their messaging on belonging anywhere and offering local personalized experiences. And that is what prompted them to be the business that they are today. And so I share this one because once you understand your audience, you can position yourself in a way that really speaks to their core. And also, it's okay to shift. They started one way, they learned something, and then they shifted. It didn't destroy them. So You might learn some things today and realize you need to change something, and that's okay. I don't know if anybody remembers this campaign, or if you are familiar with Dove. Yep, and so this is an example of how knowing your audience can help you sort of break through the noise of a standard market. The beauty market is huge and super competitive. And then Dove, what they did is they tapped into the emotions of their target audience, which for them was women who felt underrepresented by traditional beauty standards. And so instead of showing models, they started showing real people with real body sizes and shapes. And what happened is this did break through the noise, and it led to basically a viral campaign and a 30% increase in sales in that first year alone of launching this one thing. I'm sure everybody here knows Netflix. Basically, they changed the way that people view content, and they have also influenced streaming platforms in general. Everybody does this now. And so they went super hyper personalized, and they create recommendations based on the individual's viewing habits, keeping people on their channel. And they actually commissioned Stranger Things and The Crown after analyzing what people were watching and the content genres and time periods. So they already knew before they commissioned these shows that these shows would be a success. Okay, does anybody remember Crystal Pepsi? Yeah, some people, and then also most people don't. So can you guess what happened to Crystal Pepsi?
They want it to be brown.
Yeah, so I've shown you some success stories, but I also wanted to show you sort of the other side of the coin, where not knowing your audience leads to failure. So Pepsi here thought that they were revolutionizing the soda market and capitalizing on like the health conscious trend that was coming at that time. And they thought clear or natural products were seen as healthier and more wholesome. But the thing that they didn't understand was people who were going to drink soda wanted it to be rich and sugary and flavorful. It was a total mismatch. Anyway, it flopped, it got pulled from the shelves, and that is why most of you don't know what it is today. It disappeared. So, what are the benefits of knowing your audience? We went over this with the positive case studies that personalization plays a key role in purchasing decisions. And so I'd also like to share, this is not on there, but nearly 40% of consumers have abandoned a website due to overwhelming choices.
Due to what?
Due to overwhelming choices. So if they come to a website and it's not really personalized, it's just like, okay, here's a mismatch of like everything I'm offering, the person doesn't feel like it's speaking to them. So it's not, and there's a way to show if you have multiple products or offerings, there is a way to show it, but if that is the first thing they see, they're out. Yeah. And so personalization is huge in your messaging and how you present yourself. The other fact that I also don't have on here, sorry, but is only 55%, so a little over half of consumers actually feel like brands understand them. And that is a pretty big mismatch. So that's an opportunity for you, again, to really understand your audience and make sure that what you are offering and how you are positioning it is a way that speaks to your audience. Something fun for the nonprofit world is nonprofits that regularly post audience-specific content see a 42% increase in engagement compared to just sort of generic messaging. So again, speaking directly to your audience and personalizing that can really give you a big boost. So some common pitfalls that I've seen is basically a lack of inaccurate data. So all of these things do need to be based on data, and we'll talk about that as well. And don't base your decisions on assumptions. Everyone loves to do that. I will admit I've been there too. You're like, I know, I love this, so everyone else has got to. But you have to look at the data to know if that is actually what your customers are looking for. Trying to appeal to everyone. That's how you lose personalization, and then you end up appealing to nobody. So don't do that. And again, there are ways to do that, and we'll go over that today. And also being aware that customer behaviors change over time. The world changes over time, how products come out. And so with these shifts, you also have to be open to adapting your strategy, your messaging, understanding your audience. You can't just look at them one time and then assume it's the same audience 10 years later. And so you have to keep evolving that as well. So we get to our first hands-on exercise, which is I want you to look at your own customer data if you have it. And so you can do that from if you have a business profile on Meta, like Instagram or Facebook, Google Analytics, if you're on Twitter, Pinterest, anything and you are a business, you will have a professional dashboard is typically what it's called. And then you have access to insights. And so from there, you can see who is actually following you, who's engaging with your content. And you can get some sort of high level details like locations and age ranges. You don't know where to look, but you want to go to insights, and then you can look at audience is a big one, especially on the Meta dashboard where you can see where people are coming from and what are the most what are the big age ranges. A lot of people think that they're reaching, say, 18 to 24-year-olds, and they realize that the majority of people actually engaging with their content is like 40 to 65. So that's when you either need to, if you really want to be reaching 18 to 24-year-olds, then you need to shift your content strategy so that way more of those people are engaging. If you are a local business and most of your audience is not people in your local vicinity, then that's when you say, okay, we need to shift our messaging and using certain keywords and hashtags and making it more local specific to get the right people.
So we've got a couple questions on Zoom here. Go ahead, Donna. I think you raised your hand first.
I'm just starting out with this particular business, not in business generally. I've been in business forever, but so what I have to do is just general audience research online, or like what do I do? And I'm not a brick and mortar business. I'm an online business.
Yeah.
So how do I figure out how to reach? I mean, I have some advantages because of some of my networks, but beyond that, where do I look for data that will help me refine my content strategy?
Yep. And that's a great question. And if you're just starting out and you don't actually have that much data, then what you want to do is write down sort of your ideal customer, their age range, maybe where they live. And then we'll talk about how to refine your strategy for your ideal customer. And that's if you don't have that much data to work with. And you can also do some research too, depending on the industry you're in, to find out, what are your competitors doing. You can often find out or get a sense of who's engaging with their content. If you go through some of their social channels and you see, okay, let me go through a few posts. Is it older people, younger people, women, men? Hard to tell location necessarily, but you can get a sense from some of your competitors and understanding again sort of what industry you're entering into and having an idea about what that audience looks like. And that's always a really good place to start. And then when you start getting data, you can then analyze it. And that goes back to sort of the Airbnb example, where they started with one idea, thinking this is what people wanted. And then they launched, and then they got enough data to learn, okay, actually our audience doesn't necessarily want this. This is what they want. And now we're shifting. So, Tanya, you have a question.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Okay, so um I'm hearing Meta, what's the difference between demographics and potential audience? Because when I click on demographics, I'm laughing because it's saying that I'm attracting mostly people between the ages of 25 and 34 and more men than women. And then my top country is Indonesia. So that makes no sense to me. But then when I click on potential audience, it's kind of, it's all kind of flat. Like there's no particular age group that's going like, you know, this is your target. But it does break down like, okay, top countries, United States, 100%, top cities, New York, Los Angeles, Houston, and then it goes down from there.
Yeah.
So how do I interpret that?
And so the demographics section is what it's pulling from people who have seen your posts, spent time on it, clicked on something. The demographics are from what you are currently posting.
Uh-huh.
And the Indonesia is a bit weird.
Well, yeah, they're all of them. It's like Indonesia,
males, yeah.
and then it's like Ethiopia, Pakistan, South Sumatra, Algeria. Like, what is going on? How is this happening?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Also be, there's a lot of bots on the platform also. So whether they're talking to you or not, that could be skewing the data.
VPN usage as well might impact it.
So it's hard. It's like take it a little bit with a grain of salt. Google Analytics tends to be a bit more accurate. Yeah. And so, I don't know if you boosted any posts, but when you put money behind something, that is the only way that you can control who sees it. Because you're paying for specific eyeballs, a specific age range, people who have specific interests. And when you don't pay for it, it just goes out into the world, and it is trying to find sort of the people who might most likely engage with your content.
So you kind of geofence where you play.
When you pay, yeah. And then another time we can go over boosting posts, because I say don't do it. But
I've heard that.
But there are other ways of doing that. But yeah, and so Tanya, your data might be skewed a bit. I know you post a lot too, and so a lot of times if you're also posting reels and videos, it shows a lot to non-followers versus followers, depending on how your video is doing. And so that is also how you can expand your reach. again, you want to expand your reach to your actual ideal customer, not necessarily people in Ethiopia and in Tunisia when you're not offering services for other parts of the world. But there are some things where, like, you might have to dig a little deeper into that. And again, take it with a grain of salt. The what was it? The predicted audience, that's what they believe your audience is, and that's who you can get. So that might be more accurate for you, Tanya, than what your actual demographics are, say. And maybe it's not so heavy into a specific age range. It is, you said it's a bit flatline, and it might just be like it is for people of all age ranges. But these are the main cities. And if you're offering more like health and wellness services, those big cities make sense too. So there's a bigger demographic of people who would be interested in those services and could afford it also.
If you do boost or whatever you might recommend, put a little money behind it, even a little bit, will that have will that stick, or is it just as long as your time frame you created? No, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Will the algorithm still remember you afterwards and still direct people to you
Back
for a
to your
while?
page. It definitely can help as long as people engage with it.
Mhm.
But again, you're sort of judged by each piece of content that you put out there.
Right.
And if you do say like a $20 boost and then say, okay, that should carry me through, that's not working towards a bigger strategy that will sustain you, and you will just get forgotten. It's like a one and done, and then that's it. So yeah, you want to make sure it fits into
Campaign.
a bigger campaign to maintain that momentum.
I've never even seen this part of the Facebook page.
Look at that. And isn't it fun? You
Yeah.
can just
Yeah.
dig into it. They used to give a lot more information.
Yeah.
I will say that. It did look a lot different. And then they've scaled back. You can see a lot more when you actually run ads. You get a bigger breakdown of things, but just for the general, here's what I'm posting on a regular basis, it gives you some stuff.
Now, you said Google Analytics. Can Google Analytics look at Facebook?
Yeah, so there's ways to connect the two.
Yeah.
And Google Analytics tends to be a more accurate source of truth for everything. But you also then need sort of a Google Analytics expert to set it up, because you can set it up wrong and then get really bad data.
Yeah.
So
Who's an expert?
it depends on what
Using filters.
all of that, and you need to make sure your tagging is correct, because you're bringing in, you want basically one, like the best way to do it is you have one single dashboard and everything feeds into it, so you're seeing how everything you're doing is all connected and working together.
Is there a separate aggregator, so to speak, that can do that for you? I mean, it's not Google, it's not Facebook, but
But there's like third party
Right.
services
Right.
that do that. Triple Whale is probably the best one that I've seen, but I don't think it's that cheap. So it depends on how much you're doing. Google Analytics is free, and that is a great place to start until you're dealing with a lot of more complex marketing strategies and different platforms, and you need everything in one place.
A question from Donna.
Oh, yeah.
So the questions are: write down your top 3 locations and age ranges of your actual current audience. Now write down top 3 locations and age ranges for your ideal audience. How would you revise that for those of us whose audience is primarily online?
Oh yeah, that's all for the online audience too. So I would say,
Okay,
who are you trying to reach online? Because
right.
you do have to have an idea of age range. And
That I have.
yep, and then locations, it could be cities, it could be countries, like maybe you want to do US, Canada, Mexico, like,
Okay, okay.
whatever it is that you're offering, just come up with 3 locations.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So is that what we're doing and we're sharing
Yeah.
that or?
You can share if you want. You can just write it down and keep it for you. A lot of times what I've seen is people will have an ideal and then they have an actual, and the two are not necessarily the same. And that's where it comes down to, how do you actually reach your ideal customer?
Okay, I have some ideas of what to do. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And we'll keep building on these too. And this is great. Seriously, anybody interrupts me anytime, you don't have to wait for me to stop. So now we're going to dive into how you're actually going to identify and define your target audience. So we're going to first look at demographics. And so this is who your audience is when it comes to things like age, location, gender, education, occupation, income level. Then we're going to go one level deeper. And this is where you want to look at the psychographics of your audience. And this basically tells you why people are making decisions. So what are their values, their hobbies and interests, their challenges and pain points, and their behaviors. Again, if you know all of this, it makes it so much easier to personalize your messaging to, again, your ideal person. So your customer is more than just age, gender, location, education level. You want to get to sort of their why. And so, how do you really get all this information? You can analyze current customer data if you have that, again, through any sort of analytical dashboards. If you run an e-commerce site, you get all of the data of people who are purchasing things. If you're a nonprofit and people are donating, those are your audience. You can see who those people are. So just try, if you are not just starting out, then you want to analyze your current customer data. If you are just starting out, that's when you just envision who your ideal customer is. Another way to do this is conducting surveys or interviews in asking your customers these questions. Most people won't answer unless you incentivize them. So think about ways that would benefit your customers with that. And another great way is observing your competitors. Not saying, okay, I'm selling sourdough bread, and there's a bakery over here that is also selling sourdough bread. How are they positioning their marketing? What is their messaging like? Can I identify certain gaps in their whole service that I might be able to fill? And again, that is another great way also when you're just starting out or you don't really have clean or great data. You look at your competitors, they've already done the hard work for you, and you just take what they're doing and learn from it. So basically, how can you use all of that information on your target audience and apply it to segmentation, which is a way to personalize your marketing? Because personalizing your marketing is a way where you can actually increase sales, grow engagement, increase your brand awareness, all of that. So you can actually break your audience down into groups based on demographics, based on psychographics, and based on behavioral segmentation. So I'm going to show you some examples of that. So we're going to go into a demographic segmentation breakdown and what that looks like. So we're going to pretend I'm not a sourdough bread bakery. I am a fitness brand for this purpose. And you can see here, I'm not choosing just one age group. I know that my fitness program can work for 18 to 24, 25 to 40-year-olds, and 40 plus. I've broken it down into 3 age ranges because I think the messaging needs to be different for those different age groups. Gender is both male, female. Income, I say male, female via the social networks, and a lot of them have not updated their preferences for, you know, non-binary or anything else. It's like they say male, female, or unknown. So just to keep things in line with what they're doing, we're saying male, female. And income levels, I think it'll be middle and high income. Location, both urban and suburban. And education, I want them to at least have a high school education. So now here's how I might change my messaging based on the different age groups that I have shared. So for 18 to 24-year-olds, I might say, boost your fitness with quick, effective workouts designed for students and young professionals with busy schedules. For 25 to 40-year-olds, my messaging, again, it's going to be sort of the same concept, but I'm just tweaking some things. So it'll say, stay fit and energized while juggling work, family, and life. Our flexible workout plans are perfect for busy parents and professionals. Again, same company, still offering the same thing. I'm just tweaking the messaging so I'm talking to a different group. For my 40 plus, I fall into this category. Age is just a number. Discover fitness routines tailored to help you stay active and healthy as you age. So now I have 3 different ways I'm going to message to different age groups. And it feels personalized to them. Because if I said age is just a number, discover fitness routines tailored to help you stay active at any age, 18 to 24-year-olds are going to see that and say, that's not me. And that's not what I want, because I know it could benefit them too. So now we're going to look at, I'm the same fitness company, but I'm going to show you how I might break that down based on psychographic data. So the values that I've identified for my fitness brand is they're health conscious individuals who prioritize wellness. The different lifestyles I see are busy professionals, outdoor enthusiasts, and also the eco-conscious consumer who cares about sustainability. And motivation for my customers is that people are working out to improve their physical appearance. They're doing it for stress relief or for longevity. So now I'm going to speak to my 3 different lifestyle groups here. So this is where I'm going to really lean into that emotional and value-based drivers. I'm going to get into the why they want to go with my fitness brand versus another one. So for the busy professional, I know they don't have that much time. So I say, maximize your workout in just 20 minutes a day. Our on-the-go fitness plans are made for your demanding schedule. Now for the outdoor enthusiast, I know they don't really want to be in the gym. They want to be outside. So I say, take your workouts beyond the gym. Explore our nature-inspired fitness programs designed for outdoor lovers like you. And now I've got my eco-conscious consumers. So I tell them that they can train with a purpose because our eco-friendly gear and sustainable workout programs help you stay fit while protecting the planet. Again, same exact thing. I'm just speaking to different people in a way that will have them feel more connection to my brand. So now we're going to do sort of the last breakdown, which is looking at behaviors. And so I'm looking at purchase behaviors. So there is a difference between loyal customers, occasional buyers, and new customers. Same thing if you're a business in, say, a tourist town, right? There's a difference between new visitors, tourists, and returning tourists. And you can speak to all of them differently. So again, it's not always loyal customers, occasional, new. Think about the different types of behaviors that might impact your business or nonprofit, and you can break it down in that way. I give you 3, but you might only have 2, maybe you have 4. Again, you can personalize it to what you're doing. So for my loyal customers, I say, as a loyal customer, you get early access to our new workout programs exclusively for you. That rewards them for being a loyal customer. For the occasional buyer, I know that they need a little push in order to come to me. So I say, get 15% off our fitness gear to help you jumpstart your next workout. And I think maybe a little discount is the thing that's gonna help them. And then for new customers, I need to build their trust. So I say, welcome to the community, and I'm going to give them a personalized workout plan for free to kickstart their fitness journey, with the hope that they come back and purchase something and become a loyal. So just to sort of summarize this, when you're segmenting out your audience, you've got your demographics. So that really focuses on the who your customers are. You have your psychographic segmentation that focuses on the why. And then you have your behavioral segmentation, which is how they interact with your brand. So now we get to our next hands-on exercise. And you can copy this little new friend hook. And then you're going to replace all of the bold text with your own. And so what we're going to do is we're going to combine the demographics and psychographics of your brand to introduce yourself to a total stranger. So they've never heard of you before. And here's how you're going to introduce yourself. And name of persona can be whatever you want. If you think about your ideal customer is a young male, then maybe you'd say, hey there, Mark. Like, you can just put a name in there. And location doesn't need to be like living in Winthrop. You know, it can be living in the United States, living in a busy city. It doesn't need to be so specific, but again, it's speaking to, again, a general location in which your customer might be. There is a setting in Meta if you're doing paid stuff and you choose a location, it's hidden, but there's 2 options where it's people living in or near this location, or people who have expressed an interest in this location. And that's where you end up with crazy locations. So actually, Tanya, that might be happening to you. But basically, at the end of this exercise, you have an introductory post that you can share wherever your audience is, whether that's on whatever social platform. Okay, we're going to move to exercise 2. And again, you guys can also just keep working on this too. You have it so that way you can basically follow this same template for all of the different personas that you might create. So the next template, I want you to combine the psychographics and behavioral segments to reward a repeat customer. So I want you to imagine you have someone who's coming back. So this is template 2, the loyalty nudge. And again, you're going to go through the same exercise of basically replacing everything in bold brackets with whatever you come up with for your audience. And we've got our final exercise for this one. And so this is where you're going to create the solve it now solution in template 3. So you're just going to use psychographics here to tackle a very specific objective or challenge that one of your customers might have. All right. No one has to, but does anybody want to share one of their templates?
I'm happy to share, Caroline.
All
Should I
right.
put it in the chat? I mean, why
Yeah,
not?
put it in the chat and we can read it out.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So we have, hey there, busy parents. We know that as a 35 to 40-year-old professional raising kids living in the United States, your days are usually focused on working your 9 to 5, bringing in enough income to pay your bills, while also making sure you're spending time with your children and spouse and really just live a good life. But we also know that you often struggle with overwhelm because you're discovering that no matter how much you work or how many degrees you get, that you are really not getting ahead financially, that you are living paycheck to paycheck and struggling with debt. That's why we've created the new art of living to help you gain money and time freedom, as well as happiness without losing sleep over wondering if you'll always be stuck in single-handed limited income. I think that's awesome, Tanya. And you know exactly who you're speaking to, and anybody who's in that position would feel all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more impactful than just saying, I created the new art of living to help you gain money and time freedom as well as happiness. Because I could see that part and just say,
yeah,
okay, sure, what is this? But seeing everything before that, it's like, okay, you've drawn me in. I get it. Yes, I do struggle with those things. Okay, this program is for me. Love it. And I know it takes a lot longer than something else, but writing something like this and posting it less frequently still can be more impactful for you and your messaging than trying to, yeah, it is always about the what's in it for me, because that's what people need to know. People want to see the transformation. It's like, oh, that could take me from like, I was living paycheck to paycheck to now this person is bringing in an additional $5,000 a week. People would see that and be like, yeah, I want that. So you want to make it very easy for people to want whatever it is that you're offering. And they need to know what's in it for them, or they're not going to want it. Thank you for sharing. And great question, Donna. I made you do the hard work of having to write it out all yourself, but I'll go over how to do it a bit faster too. You still have to do a lot of things yourself, but there are ways where you can use AI as well to help you speed up certain things. So you got a little sample of this just in that exercise we did. Yeah, why should I care? Exactly. Yeah, and so what you really want to do is sort of just pull on people's heartstrings, give them an emotional attachment to you, and figure out what it is that they really care about that would make them donate to your cause. So you already got some data, very basic data. You already thought through a little bit about, okay, here's how I might break down my different segments for my customer or audience. But now we're going to actually create your customer personas. We'll create one today. You can have as many as you want, because typically people don't have just one ideal customer. It's different ones. What is a customer persona? If you don't know, it's basically a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer based on all of the data, research, and insights that you have about your target audience. And having this clearly laid out makes it so much easier for you to tailor your messaging, all of your marketing strategies. When you have a customer persona, like, okay, maybe my audience is not on TikTok. They're actually on LinkedIn. I'm going to focus my efforts here. So you're not ending up spinning your wheels and trying to go everywhere. You are only going to meet your audience. So this is super important for you to know and how to meet their needs. So tonight, you didn't do all those exercises for no reason. I promise. The key elements of a persona, it's basically like putting together a dating profile. If anyone has done that or seen those, that's actually how I met my husband. So anyway, what you want to do is basically create dating profiles for your ideal customers. So think about the demographics, the psychographics, the challenges and pain points that they have, their behaviors, whether it's online or offline, and what their goals and motivations are. So what does that look like? So we're going to go back to my fitness brand that I used previously. And so here are my customer personas. I've given them pictures too, because it makes it easier for me to picture. So I've got the busy professional. I have the social mom, and I've got the fitness enthusiast. I hope you enjoy these pictures. And so now I don't just say, okay, here's my busy professional. It really is a dating profile. So I give this person a name. So I know when I'm speaking to all the Sarahs out there, it means I'm talking to the busy professional. Age, occupation, income, education, location, family. Then I go through the psychographics, the values, hobbies, their challenges. Because I'm a fitness brand, I care about their fitness goals, not just goals in general, and their motivation. Again, I'm making all of this up. I'm defining who this person is. But now I have it all laid out. And the hobbies really go into, you know, a lot of the behaviors as well, like where you would find that. And then I've given you a sample marketing message for how I would talk to the Sarahs out there. So press for time, but want to stay fit? Try our 30-minute lunchtime HIIT classes designed for busy professionals like Sarah, who need efficient, effective workouts to keep their energy levels high without compromising their work schedule. And I know that I can tailor that marketing message to them because I have all of those details. And then I could come up with 10 more marketing messages just for Sarah that speak to those different things. But again, just what Tanya did for her offering, when you're speaking directly to a person, it is way more impactful than just sharing necessarily what it is that you're offering. So now I have the social mom, and again, I've given her a little bit of a background up there. And then again, I go through the psychographics and behaviors. And then I can get into my marketing message, which changes. And I say, calling all moms, our Mommy and Me yoga classes are perfect for busy moms like Emily, offering a supportive community and a chance to reconnect with your body. Plus your first class is free. So I'm not trying to sell my whole fitness brand. I know that one of my programs is perfect for that social mom out there, and that's what I might market to them. And then I get them in the door, and then who knows what they become. And then I've got my fitness enthusiast. My Google image search was pretty fun for this one. Some inappropriate ones. Shut up. This is at least a Marte. And again, given him a bit of a background, gone through the psychographics, what he likes doing. And then you see how I've changed my messaging. So for fitness fanatics like David, our advanced weightlifting classes and personal training sessions are perfect for building muscle and preparing for competitions. Take your fitness to the next level with us. Now, if a mom saw that message, that would be like, no, I'm not going there. But that's why you tailor your messages again. Because you can have something that is for everyone, but you can't sell it that way. You have to personalize it. So guess what? You get to do your own dating profile for one of your customer personas. So just like I did, and I can go back to one of my examples if that's easier for you to see. But I want you to create your dating profile for just one of your customers. The majority of social networks these days, I've watched it evolve, where a lot of targeting is getting deprecated, at least in the paid part of things. So you used to be able to target by income level, particular interests. You get very detailed credit card data because you know where people purchase. And a lot of that is getting deprecated, which means it's going away because your targeting is now happening in your creative, which means the messaging that you write in your visuals. So it's not happening at a specific targeting level, it's happening with what you are putting out there. And so that's why this is also very important, because if you are not speaking to your audience, They will not see it. All right, is everyone ready for the next almost? I know. See, isn't this fun, you guys? You can add pictures later and then just, you can print them out. So another part of this, again, and speaking to your audience, is defining your brand voice. So we're going to go over exactly how to do that. So what exactly is it? Because this is what defines you as a brand. You want people to see something you post and know that it's you. So that comes from your tone, your style, the personality in which you express something. And that is how you communicate across all touch points, whether that's online, offline. You can put up flyers, you can post in a newspaper. Everything needs to be consistent. So why does it matter? It allows people to trust you and it gives you credibility. If you're all over the place, people are like, I don't really know what this person is trying to do. No, thank you. Again, it allows people to recognize you pretty much immediately, which is what you want. And again, if you're doing this, then people are more inclined to engage wherever you are. And that is how the algorithm judges your content also. So how it works, I'll tell you very quickly. From an organic standpoint, you post something, and then what it does is it shows your post to 20 people, some followers, some non-followers. And if people engage with it, then it starts showing up more in the algorithm. If people, those first 20 people do not engage with your content, that's it. Like, it is just not going to get seen. It will get buried in the feed.
This is not the boosted kind of.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, this is all organic, no money behind it. Yeah. They have to show it to people when you pay.
Okay.
However, if it is not good, you pay a super premium for it. So if you have something that's really good and you turn that into an ad and say you put $100 behind it, that, if it's good, could get shown to thousands of people for the same price. And if it is not good, it would get shown to probably half those people. So you're just paying a lot more. You get less engagement. So we're just going to go back into a few case studies on companies that I think do a very good job of having a good brand voice. Does anyone here know Gooder, or do you recognize it? No. Okay, they do sunglasses. There are a lot of people in the sunglass market, and they were sort of a new brand coming into it. And their sunglasses are super affordable. People lose sunglasses. It's very hard to pay $200, $300 for a pair. They sell theirs for $25. But they make it feel like a premium product. And they took on sort of like a bold and quirky tone, not serious, with their sunglasses. They all come in fun colors. And they recognized that their customers were particularly active people. And they valued fun and individuality. So they didn't want sunglasses that looked like everybody else. And they wanted them to feel fun. So even though they are affordable, rather than just focusing on affordability, they emphasize a playful and approachable brand voice. And they market all of their glasses as no flip, no bounce. Like when you're running, skiing, hiking, whatever, they stay on your head. And they stick with it. All of their marketing looks very similar. Their messaging is very similar. And it's just fun. And that is how they stand out in a crowded market. Okay, does anyone remember Old Spice? This was a long time ago. But before this, Old Spice was pretty outdated. I basically remember it as a deodorant that my dad used, and like that was it. It's for dads. Great. But they reinvented themselves to appeal to a younger demographic, and also to women, not just men, because they realized women were also the ones who were often buying the body wash for their male partners. So, like I said before, you have to understand your audience behavior and changes as well, so that way you can keep up with how they change. And so they did a whole new marketing campaign, and they basically took a regular mundane product and they made it a pretty entertaining and funny and relevant again. And then I have to show Dove because they keep just sort of, they're just really good with things changing. And this one focuses on AI, as people started generating AI images of people, and the models were all just beautiful. And so then again, they went back to knowing their audience wants real people, not these sort of faked up generic images. And so they're showing this is what a real person looks like versus the AI generated. So again, a similar concept from before, but now they're making it more relevant as it pertains to AI, and that's their hypothetical AI engine. So basically, how can you define your own brand voice? You don't need to start from the beginning unless you really want to, but you can basically use what you're already doing. And what I want you to do is review your existing content. What are you using now? Is it working? Are you consistent? And are you happy with it? If you're not happy with it, it's really hard to keep writing the same way. So again, it's totally okay to shift things and make it fit with what aligns with you and who you are. And I want you to think about your audience and that customer persona you built too. And think about who your customers are and how they like to be spoken to. And then you want to think about your competitors as well. And think, are you carving out a niche where you can stand out? Good or differentiated themselves from all the other sunglass companies out there. Dove said we're a beauty product, but how can we be different than everybody else? Showing the same thing. Old Spice again was like, we can't, we're in this with all the other body wash and deodorant types. How do we be different? So when you are putting together your brand voice, don't worry, we have an exercise coming up where you will get to do that. You want to consider the 3 C's. I try and make things like somewhat memorable for you. So you want it to be consistent. It needs to be clear. Being clear is so much better than trying to be clever. Don't use words that people don't know. That's not going to help your case. And compelling. So again, you want to engage with your audience and encourage action. So MailChimp did a big thing because people used to mispronounce their name all the time. So they just decided to play with it, and they've kept their tone that way. So their brand voice is friendly, witty, and approachable. And so they created this whole marketing campaign of all of the mispronunciations that people did of MailChimp, and they turned it into a visual. I can't remember what all the other ones were. I just pulled MailChimp. But if you look it up, you'll see that they did a bunch, and it is pretty funny. Nike. You don't even need to see their logo on any of their ads. It's not even showing their shoes. You know with their messaging that it is always Nike. They're basically regularly sharing stories of athletes overcoming adversity. They go emotional. They don't go buy our shoes. They'll make you jump higher. It is, let's get to the core of people wanting to do great things and overcoming challenges, and we're going to show that. That is what Nike does every single. So I just showed you two. Basically, how can you do this for yourself? You can create a brand voice chart. So that makes it very easy to make sure that you are always staying within your brand voice. And ask yourself key questions to help guide you. Like, if your brand were a person, what kind of personality would it have? What is your brand's core mission, and how can that guide your voice? And what feelings do you want your audience to have when interacting with your brand? Can you see that all of these go back to basically creating an idea of person for your brand and the messaging? So I have put together, this is a comprehensive brand voice guide. You can do very bare bones, but I think this is the one that can help you the most. Or basically you can take this and make it work for your brand. With how do you want your voice to come across? And then you can define that. You say when you're going to use that particular voice.
So one product can use all those different.
Correct. 100%. Yep. And it's really helpful to have examples of the words and phrases you're able to use and ones you're not able to use, because that gives you or someone who is posting on your behalf or writing for you those guidelines for what is acceptable versus what is not. So you get to have this when Mason sends it out, and you can just basically turn that into your own. And then just going beyond the brand voice guide, it's super helpful to put together a brand voice packet. And that is something for you and everyone that touches your business. And that way you ensure that everyone who is publishing anything for you stays true to your brand. So things include your mission, vision, values. Again, who is your target audience? Someone needs to know that before they can do anything for your brand. Your brand's tone and key messaging guidelines, your visual identity, that's your logo, the colors you use, the typography. If you keep changing the font across everything, someone's not going to see that and say, oh, that's you. And brand imagery guidelines if you have them.
I'm sorry, so this is an internal packet.
Internal packet, yep. Yep, and that way, like, for example, if you hire a consultant or someone comes in as a marketing person, this is all laid out. So that way, you're not getting things that are totally off brand. Yep. You hire new employees, someone takes over. They don't just wipe out everything that you've done creating this brand that they can't keep up with. So now we're going back to our dating profile days. And all I want you to do here, I say all, these things take a while, I know. I want you to think if your brand was a person on a dating app, what would its bio say? And I want you to try and write that. It doesn't need to be super long. But you want to be able to tell someone that this is what your brand is. All right, are you ready for my hot tip for today's day and age? So now that you have your brand voice, or once you actually finish it, and you have one of your customer personas built out, and you have that sample post that you did earlier on, then you go to something like ChatGPT or Gemini, and you say, here's my brand voice. Here's one of my customer personas. And you give it all that information that you just did. And you say, here's a sample post that I wrote previously. I would like to post 3 times a week on this platform. Generate 20 posts for this customer persona with content ideas so that I can post for the next 2 months. And then the output that you get is going to be in your brand voice, speaking directly to your customer persona, imitating that post that you initially did, and it's going to be so much better than you have to give it a lot of information. So you have to do a lot of hands-on work. But then that is going to, like, you spent an hour doing this. Then you use AI, and that just saved you 20 hours of time. That stuff used to take me so long. And now you can do it in an afternoon.
That's exactly why I use AI.
Yeah, exactly.
What used to take me 4 days takes me 1.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're a single person doing this, you don't have a team of people.
Right.
You need all of the help you can get.
That's
but it's only as good as what you give it. So you need to give it good stuff, which is why we're doing this stuff, because it can't create that for you.
And for anyone who's interested in learning more about AI and that sort of thing, that is the subject of next month's class. About a month from now, March 10th. Caroline Sancken will be teaching a class on using AI for marketing.
There we go. See, so I had to go through all the hard steps, and now we're in easy times. Okay, so we've got one last thing to complete our workshop today, but you can do all of this stuff and still not connect with your audience, and it won't matter. So you still need to connect with your audience. So this is going to be super fast, but it really matters that you're authentic, which is also why I have you write your dating profile for your brand voice, because it matters. And this, again, I've mentioned it before, it builds that long-term trust and loyalty, and it will keep customers coming back regularly. And I'm showing here Patagonia, which basically has built lifelong supporters because they care about the environment and they make it known that they care about the environment. And so that comes across in a lot of the things that they do. In the money that they donate, they share it on their website, they create recycled shirts that, they're also still creating waste. However, they care about it and they put it out there in their brand. And that's what makes them somewhat unique. And so whatever it is that you care about that is authentic to you, that can become a part of your brand messaging, and that is what your audience will pick up on. Just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean you have to. So, some ways to build those authentic connections. We went over a lot of this previously, but personalize your content. That always helps. So again, you want to tailor your message to your customer persona. You don't post and then just leave and forget about it. You need to engage in conversation with your audience wherever they are. So respond to comments when those pop up. Look for people who are talking about similar things or who care about similar things, and join in the conversation. Storytelling is a big part of it too. People want to get to know your brand. And again, what makes you authentic in a world of AI as well? It's hard for people to tell what's real, what's fake. And being able to give people a look behind the scenes or really share who you are can go a really long way with building that connection with people. Collaborate with people who align with your values and your mission. And that's, again, another way to sort of expand your reach to your audience. And content balance is super important. Even if you just want to sell something or get donations, people get tired of hearing that all the time. You have to, again, think about what your audience and what your customer values and give them that mix. People love learning. So giving them things that, again, it sets you up as a thought leader where people, again, can trust you, but giving something that can be valuable to other people. So this is the last thing that you have to do today, is using the persona you initially created, as well as a bit of your brand voice. I want you to just create a welcome intro post for your audience. So let's say, okay, I'm new here. How would you introduce yourself?
Caroline, thank you so much. I have to hop.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
And I'll just do that. Thank you. Any questions? And then I always put at the last slide ways that you can get in touch with me. If you have any questions, I am here to help.
Yep, and later this afternoon, I will be sending out a copy of the slides for everyone so that you have access to the whole presentation. And also I will link to a survey in case you'd like to provide any feedback on today's class.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome. It was definitely helpful.
Oh, good. I take all feedback, good and bad. I have thick skin, I promise.
Follow
Bye, everyone.